Good afternoon. It's Saturday, 6th of February. I'm back in the reading nook. It's a cold and chilly afternoon, but of course I've got a cup of tea with me. And I've also got some parcels to unbox. So let's get to it. We may be interrupted by the sounds of dogs barking next door, but there's not much I can do about that. So bear with me. So here we go. Right, this one's going to open easily. Okay. Yep, that's nice and easy. And then in here we have Nook, an old school gaming bric-a-brac. So it's wrapped in plastic, so it's gets to the point where I can get a knife in there so I can open this cleanly. There we go. So let me start talking about this. So what we've got is a very bright and colourful book. It's a great cover. It's got quite some impact to it. And open up. First thing I'm really reminded about is this has taken a kind of a leaf out of Mortborge, which the Swedish role-playing game. This has even got a wraparound cover, but so you can start by seeing just on the kind of style here, the impact of the strong colours, contrasting colours, and you are into really the contents page. And there's a real sort of strong sense of graphic identity to this. I'm going to literally I can just go through and show you page after page that there really has quite changed things. So, for example, we get to there's a comparison of old and new D&D. So here we go. That's it. So you've got literally a compendium of different articles in here. You've got the lich code, basically the cocktail code, basically talking about the design of a monster. We keep on going through, asking questions like, does energy drain suck? This is by Gabor Lux, who also does a fanzine of his own. Wizard weaknesses, just a table. Get your gear. Roll 66 d66 to get your starting gear for your character. So there's lots of things in here. Tables for creating the village's local retired adventure, because every village has one. Basically, dungeon checklist. Sometimes I write dungeons. Today I wrote a checklist of things to put in the dungeon. Okay, so again, another discussion article, and again you've got content after content. And then we take a bit of a switch. So to what kids RPGs are missing. And it's really just sort of like what you've got here is a recording of the playthrough of the game and then an analysis on the following page. So there's no really one thing in this game. It's lots of different people's thoughts on lots of different things. So whether that's a list of 20 different gunpowders, and again, there's a really strong use of colour in this. This is vibrant by most standards. This is almost antithetical to the kind of the thing you normally get in the OSR and Dungeons and Dragons, where it's old school Dungeons and Dragons and the OSR, where it's not all that colourful. They don't use a lot of colourful colour, and here that's really different. And you have to mark that down to Mort Walsh's influence, which came out and really caught people's imagination just on the colour palette that it used, with that acid yellow, vibrant colour of the cover, and then inside just swathes of blocks of colour, and so on. So you have a discussion here of things like OSR style challenges, rulings not rules is insufficient. So he's talking really about the idea, that in the OSR, what's important is the rulings for the GM, and that one reason is because obviously in the OSR they tend not to have rules covering everything, so therefore it's down to the referee, to the dungeon master, to adjudicate. And here's discussing why in this article here he doesn't think that's sufficient. Okay, keep going. So we have a discussion of what goblins are, from another author, Fiona Maeve Geist, I believe is responsible for Mothership. Could be wrong. Ben Milton, who has his own YouTube channel, Questing Beast, Labours of Hercules as the OSR. And it's interesting again that something like Maces and Minotaurs, which does the idea that Dungeons and Dragons sort of like played from a Greek perspective of the Greek myths. I'll go on to What Do Monsters Want by Sean McCoy. This is just a compendium chock full of article after article, and they're all short articles that you can pick up and read. RPGs as emotional gambling. That's an interesting take upon how you play, because when you pick up and take a character, you are investing some of yourself in it, some of your emotions. So yeah, this is a really fantastic book on just for the range of ideas that you could you could think about in approaching how you play your game. So the overly thematic dungeon, the common wisdom surrounding designing dungeon encounters has changed much over the years. Okay, so here it explores the question of what makes a good dungeon encounter. And the thing is, the hobby is, certainly if you go back to sort of like the period of the 70s and 80s, where the primary game is Dungeons and Dragons, you have lots of articles in magazines and so on discussing these kind of subjects. It's interesting to come back to them, not just essentially via if you're going back for the OSR, but it's from a more modern perspective, I think. So yeah, what else? What happened in 1266? Some of the best game setting inspiration is a casual browse through Wikipedia, because the history of the real world is so much weirder and wonderful than any purely fictional setting. Another interesting article there. I always love the historical side of things, and it because that brings in that sort of grounds your game. Okay. Yeah. So, and you've got things ordinary things. I would say ordinary things, not so much discursive articles, but just simply lists like D20 magical helmets. But again, lots and lots of different articles. This is actually interesting thing is that there's an article which is written in response to one of my reviews. I didn't know about this. So we have the tapestry and mosaic box on the scope of module design. The inspiration for writing this article, and this is by Gabor Lux, okay, is my review of Echoes of Formaho issue 2. It basically, he said, positive reviews make you feel good inside, while critical reviews make you rethink the things you're doing and why you're doing them. Something Pookie has criticised, in a point he also made up in WRT issue 0, I can't remember, I don't know what the WRT is offhand, was the apparent purposelessness of the adventures and the design. That is a lack of strong plot and hooks and background information to get the players involved. This is a fair point, but it's something I do entirely on purpose, because I believe ultimately it makes this adventure stronger and more suitable for others for home games. Our disagreement lies in our ideas about what we should go into the module text, what should be its scope, except we may not actually be disagreeing at all. I'm going to be interested. I mean, here we go. Look, here it is. I'm just going to show that to you there. Wow. Wow, that's quite amazing. I am quite well. Okay, I'm surprising, and you've got quite a lengthy article here. This is in response to my point. You know, you've got basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages in putting out his thoughts, and that's fine. I mean, obviously it's a hobby. We have every right to disagree. When I see an adventure, I do want something which the GM is always free to come up with his own hooks, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But sometimes, if you pick up a magazine, you kind of, or a fanzine or something, I want to, like, well, why am I going there? And the thing is, it is a case of I want to increase the versatility of what that is. Not because I'm necessarily short of ideas. Okay, it's a case of I might need something on the fly. I might need something that spurs my imagination. And maybe it's also to see further how the GM used it or has set it up. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, basically, and further on, you've got things like 300 useful and magical loots. 300! You're never going to get the full use out of that article, but it's brilliant just for adding a bit of colour. It's interesting, Borderlands, being selected excerpts of a never-ending essay on anthropology, archaeology, geography, and other knowledgeable and harebrained ideas concerning the Borderlands. And the Borderlands, you think, okay, there's a RuneQuest big pack called Borderlands, out on the Borderlands. But when you think of the OSR and Dungeons and Dragons, of course you think about B2 Keep on the Borderlands. So you've got a complete article what it's like out there. That's interesting for adding colour. I mean, last year, the year before, I believe I did the full series of articles, literally reviewing everything I could find that explored B2 Keep on the Borderlands and B1 In Search of the Unknown, and we're currently actually playing through B2 Keep on the Borderlands using Old School Essentials, and it's going very well, and we're really enjoying it. That's an interesting article to read on the subject. If you were preparing the module or writing something similar yourself, and you just further on. Here's a basic. You recognise that keep, the outline of that keep from that module. And okay, next thing, we have 8 variants upon the Caves of Chaos. Basically, just carrying on the same subject. Classic Dyson Logos map there, which I should really put like that. And actually, technically, I shouldn't be looking at this because I'm actually playing through the module. But hey, it's 40 years old, and Anyway, so more articles. So basically, Sewers of Mystery. They're basically for creating adventure underneath the player's character's feet. Along with sewer geomorphs, sewer cross sections. I could keep going, but I think, just on going through this article, this basically fanzine stroke compendium. You've got a collection of solid maps at the back here, which in the GM is basically free to add content of his own. Just more and more. I have to say, utterly impressed by just how much there is in this book. It's full to the brim. It's bursting with content. It is just full of fantastic content that you can bring to your game. You can plunder for ideas. You have at the back here, you've got a basic game adventure that you can just easily adapt, and it's clear that so much thought and look has been put into the layout and the style of this book. I think anyone who is interested in the OSR, has runs a campaign, this will provide them with more ideas for the content, support. So Nook, an old school gaming bric-a-brac, you are getting your value, more than your value for money with this book. I'm so impressed with this just on leafing through, and not just because I mentioned in this. Okay, there's just lots of readable content in there, which I'm basically foolish dropping it. I'm looking forward to reading and reviewing. So that's Nook. Basically, basically a thick book of ideas and just articles and so on for your old school Renaissance role-playing game. So if you've enjoyed this, please click the like button below. If you've got any comments, please feel free to basically add a comment below, and if you want to see more of these videos, please do subscribe. I will be coming back out here into the Nook and doing some more unboxings with my cup of tea, and showcase and talk about what I've had in the post recently. So thank you for watching. I will be back with more content like this soon. Bye for now.